Good morning, students. Today we'll be doing about conditional operators and if-else statements. In this particular lecture, I just wanted to show you what a conditional operator is. Conditional operator is one which is also called as ternary operator, which includes three different kinds of or three different expressions. Along with the three different expressions, it will be having question mark and a colon. Now let's see an example of this. And we also see the conditional operator can be executed in one single go. So here we are supposed to find out the largest of two numbers using the conditional operator. So we are trying to read two different values which are x and y we have declared, and z is equal to x greater than y question mark x colon y. Print the largest number which is percentile dz. Return 0. Now, in this case, suppose what we are trying to do is, we are trying to find out if x is greater than y, it has to print the value of truth value, which is x. And then, if this is not true, it will try to print the expression 3, which will take the false value. So, in this particular statement, we see that the false value is y. So, here let's do this particular one on the online compiler. So I'll take you to the online compiler. Now here our code is. So I'm trying to run this particular code wherein I'm trying to read two variables x and y and trying to check in one single line x greater than y, and then if it is greater, the truth value is x is greater. If it is false, it is y value which will be taken. So then you're trying to put this particular statement or assign the value of whatever is received from the conditional operator to one particular variable, which is z. Now this particular value of z will be printed using printf statement. Now let's me run this particular code. You can see that this particular value, whatever I try to give, 7 and 90. So is 7 greater than 90? No. So what happens, immediately the control, what it does is, it will move from x greater than y. So the control will go into y. So here you see that the y value will be printed and it will be stored in z, which is printed later in the using printf statement. Now let's see what happens if I give a value, x value as greater, whereas y value is minimum. So here x value is 86 and 23 is the y value. So what we are trying to see is, we are trying to check again x greater than y. So x is greater than y, true it is. So it will try to go, that is the control will go to the x, that is question mark x value. So this particular x value will be printed using the printf statement with the z value, which is trying to store the conditional operator value. So the conditional operator, after checking, it will try to give a value which is 86 to the z, and then the z will be printed. Now going back. So here, now this is a simple if-else statement wherein you are trying to see that if x greater than y. So if x is greater than y, you are trying to print the value of x. Else, if y is greater, it will try to print the value of y. So what we are trying to notice is, when you compare this particular code and this particular code, this is also used for comparing largest of two numbers using conditional operator. Even this is used to find the largest of two numbers using if else. The number of lines whatever you are writing in if else is more when you compare to the conditional operator. So that makes a difference using conditional operator and simple if else statement. But it becomes a tedious one when you are using more than one if else statement. I'll take you to the syntax of the if else. Now, in this particular one, okay, the simple if else statement is if, then you have a condition. If this particular condition is true, we see that it will try to print certain statements. So it will have a set of block of statements in it. It can have one or more, but it should end with a semicolon. Else, it will have, it is all small keys. Else, it will have all the other set of statements which will not be printed in if the condition is true. So here you have again set of statements and this will end. So this one here what we see is a simple if condition syntax. Okay, so whenever we are writing if condition, you can see that you will be having at least 4 lines. Along with the scanf and the printer, this particular 4 lines should be included. So in this particular statements, you can have one or more than one statements. Even here in this particular else statement, you can have more than one statement. Now let's see one of the example of this. In this case, what we are trying to see is we are trying to find out if the person is eligible to vote or not eligible to vote based on the age. So as usual, we are trying to read a variable which is age because we are trying to find out the condition on the age. So enter age, read the age, and if age is greater than or equal to 18, printf the person is eligible for voting, else the person is not eligible for voting, return 0. Okay, so this becomes a simple if else statement example. So coming to the next one, that is you will be having nested if else statements in C program. Nested if else statement is the one wherein you see that now when you have an if condition, within this particular if condition, you can have one more if. And then you also have else in this. That is within one particular if, you're having one if else. And in this case also, you can have one more. Before having the else part, you can have one more if condition. So this is what is called as, this is one else. And this else is for this particular condition. So what we see is you can have within if condition, if else statements, number of if else statements. Otherwise, you can also have number of if else statement in else part. So this becomes a nested if else. Depending upon the usage of how you want it, you can see that that particular condition can be used. Let's see few of the examples and the syntax of it. Now this is one of the if else statement as I was saying you. Now this is a if condition followed by if else statement. So within one if, you are having one if else. Otherwise, you also can have if, this is the if statement where it is ending, and else part is also having one if statement. So you can have only the either if statement or if else statement. Now I'll show you few of the examples. Now look at this particular syntax. If condition, you are checking one more if condition 2, then else, then you are closing this particular first, this is the first if condition, then this is the main if condition. Okay, so you are having the else part for the if here, and then you can see that you are ending your else part here. Otherwise, I'll go through this example later. First, I'll show you the different syntax for you. Now, as I was saying you, this is the other example syntax of the if else. So you're having if condition. So if condition is not having any if else statement within it, whereas in else part you're having one particular condition, and within the condition you're having else, then you're having if condition, then you see that you will be having else part. Okay, so this is how you will be having a different nested if else statements. Okay, so now let's take one of the example here which I have given. Now we are trying to find out var1 is not equal to var2. Now we'll try to read the value of var1, and we are trying to read the value of var2, and then trying to check if var1 is not equal to var2. Print of var1 is not equal to var2. Then in that case, we have to check if var1 is greater than var2. Then in that case, what you are saying is, if it is true, then it will try, the controller will come to this particular printf statement and it will print var1 is greater than var2. Else, if it is false, then it should be var2 is greater than var1. So the controller will come once the condition is false to the else part, and then it will try to print whatever print statement is there in the else part. Okay, this is done within the nested if. Okay, then immediately it will come out of the if statement, and then it will try to print if it will come out of the if statement, and then it will come to the return 0. Now it will not, the controller will not go to this else part because the condition in this case is true. That is, var1 is not equal to var2, so it is going into the nested if. If this condition fails, then the controller will come to the else part, and then it will print var1 is equal to var2, and it will return 0. Now coming to the next one more example. No, I'll not do this example. We'll go to this block diagram. To make it simplified, it will be easy to understand when I put this block diagram. Now you have if condition. This is the outer if block. Within that if block, as I said, you'll be having one more inner if block. So this is our condition of the second nested if. Within that, you'll be having the else, that is the if and the else part, inner else part, and then you'll be closing this. Okay, so you'll be having block of statements which are there in the else part. Here you can see the block of statement if the condition is true for the if statement. Then you'll see that the if condition of the outer block is closing here, else, that is the else of this particular if block. So here you see that you're having one more nested if within the else part. You're having the statements of if condition. If the statement is true, it will go and print the statements and do the processing of whatever it has to do. Else, it will have a block of statements which are there in else, and then it will stop here. This is what is called as if condition. Nested if condition statement. Now I'll take you to a flow chart. Yeah. Now this is a flow chart of the if condition. Now this is the starting position of where your if statement is starting. So this is the first if condition. If the condition is true, you are going into the statements of if statement, and then if the condition is false, you'll go to the right set condition. Okay, so again this is having nested if else. So here you can see there is one more condition. Then within that the nested if condition, you may have if statement. So all the if statements, whatever related to the condition, if the statement is true, it will print, and if it is false, it will try to print the if else statement. Okay, then it will come out of the if statement once the condition is true. If the condition is false, you see that the condition will take to the else part. Within the else part, you can have again the condition, and then else if statement, else if statement, uh, statements will be executed. Else you see that the condition is false, else statement will be executed. This is one small program to understand. Now I is equal to 10. Here you can see I have declared I is equal to 10. If I is equal to 10, we if I is equal to the 10, you see that there is an assignment operator. Then we see that it goes into if statement again. Here you are trying to check if I is less than 15. So here what we are saying is, first I have given equal, that is I have only assigned 10. Now you are trying to check I is equal to 10, and then you are trying to check if I is less than 15. If it is true, it will try to print that I is smaller than 15. Otherwise, it will go into the inner block of the if statement. There is one more condition. If I is less than 12, it will print I is smaller than 12. Else, it will try to print I is greater than 15. Okay. So, this is how you are trying to write a small if, that is the nested if. Within that if condition, you are having two ifs. You're not having the else part in this part. You can see that. So 1, 2, 3, only ifs are there, but you're not having else part. Next, you have ladder if else, you call it. Ladder if else is the one wherein you see that you can have more than one if else statement in one if condition. Okay. So as I said, this is one particular condition. If it is true, then it will execute the statement. If it is no, the condition is false, then it will go to the else part. Within that, you may have the if condition. And then if the statement is true, then it will execute the statements within that. Okay. And then even if this particular condition is false, then it will check with one more if condition, and then it will try to print that particular statement. And then you can see that this else part which belongs to this particular condition 1. And then you can see that the statements will be here, that is the controller will come directly out of the loop. This is what is called as ladder if else. Now I'll show you block diagram. If condition statement 1, if else, if condition statement 2, like that you can have number of if else statements, and the final is the else statement which will belong to the first condition. So you're having the syntax given here: if condition statement 1, else if condition statement 2, else if conditions statement n, statement n will be printed, else default statement. That is, this particular else belongs to the main first else statement, main first if statement. So this is again a simple code for understanding the ladder if else statement. Here I have taken I is equal to 20. So if I is equal to 10, you have to print I is 10. Else if I is equal to 15, print f I is 15. Else if I is equal to 20, print f I is equal to 20. Okay. Otherwise you say that I is not present. Now here something which we are trying to use logical and I am trying to compare three variables, the largest of three variables. A greater than B, logical and A greater than C, printf largest is A. Else if A greater than B greater than A, logical and B greater than C, largest is B. Else largest is C. Return 0. So here what we are trying to see is we are using two conditions. That is, we are trying to check A is greater than B and A greater than C. So you are doing double checks, and then if it is true, that is both are true only, you see that this particular statement will be printed. If one of the statement is false, it will go immediately to the else part. Okay. So that is 1 and 1 will give 1. So here you can see that printf largest percentile D A. So here we can see that all the three numbers, whatever we are trying to check which is largest, will be checked in just 2 lines of conditional statement. So this is done. Switch case in C. Let's see the switch case statement in C. Switch statement in C is an alternate to if-else statements. When you have the nested if-else statements, we see that you will be having switch cases, wherein you see that switch expression, then you'll be having number of cases, and this particular cases will take a value of integer or alphabet. It will not take any float value. So case value 1, case value 2 will be an integer value or alphabets, and this break is a compulsory or mandatory. So you see that if without break also you can print, but then it will print all the cases which are beneath it. Now the rules of the switch case, you can see that the first one is the switch expression must be an integer or a character type. The case value must be an integer or the character constant. And the case value can be used only inside the switch statement. It cannot be used outside. And it says that the break statement is not required because it is an optional one. But in case there is no break statement found, you see that all the cases which are there in that particular switch statement will be printed, and it is called as fall through. We'll be going through that also. So you can see that I have declared the variable as xyz as an integer, ab as a character, float as f. Now this is a valid switch statement wherein you see that you can have x, which will take the int value or it will take the character value. Now you can see that x is greater than y for switch. You also can have a plus b minus 2, but you can see that x plus 2.5 is not allowed. Switch of f is not allowed. Similarly, in valid cases, you see that case 3, that is an integer value. When you are using, you can use like 3, 4, 5, 6. Case A, that is single quotes you'll be using. You're not supposed to use double quotes. When you are using single quotes, you are using single quotes when you declare the variable as character. Now suppose I wanted to do operation of plus, A plus B, 1 plus 2. So in such cases, you can give the case as 1 plus 2. And you wanted to check x greater than y. Okay. So you are supposed to give within the single quotes. Case 2.5 is invalid. Case x is invalid. X plus 2 is invalid. You cannot give 1, 2, 3 also in cases. You have to give single cases. Flowchart of the switch statement in C, you see that the expression is read. Once the expression is read, you will try to match that particular expression to one of the cases. Now, cases 1, if it is true, then the controller will take into the statements of the case 1, and there is a break. If there is a break, it will not go to case 2, case 3, case 4. Neither default. Default is always there in switch statement. If none of the cases will match, you see the default statements will be printed, and then the controller will come out of the switch statement. The functioning of switch case statement. Now let's take one example. You see that you are trying to give or you are trying to read a number. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to read a number, and then okay, I can assign number is equal to 0 because I wanted to tell the person, whoever is executing, that number should be more than 0. Okay, it cannot be 0, but it should be greater than 0. So here you can also type that enter the number between 10, 10, 50 and 100, because we are giving the cases of that. So now once you give this particular statement, you see that you are trying to read a number. Switch number, case 10, printf number is equal to 10, and then you are having a break. You can have the break in the statement, same statement, or you can give it in the next statement. So here you can see that if you are writing like this, you can see that it will try to print the value which is matching, and then the controller will immediately come out of the switch statement. So this is the switch statement end, that it will end at this particular point, and then it will come out of this. So I'll try to execute this particular small switch statement. So the switch statement is really good when you're trying to use more than number of if statements, if else statements. So now I'll share the online C compiler. Okay, now just check this particular one. I've already written it here so that we can have time. So now I'm trying to put it here. Intending is a must in C, though it is not compulsory, but it looks neat and tidy. So you'll understand which is what and all. So which statement belongs to which particular case, all that can be understood when you're writing intention or when you're using intention. Now I'm just putting this also properly. Now I'll try to run this. So I have said in this program, I need not define number is equal to 0 because I already have enter a number greater than, or enter the number that is in between, enter a number that is in between 10, 50 and 100, because the case values are 10, 50 and 100. So once you try to run this particular code, you see that it will try to print that value. Now, before this, I'll print one statement, print allow. Just print allow. So you can see the difference, what happens. Now I'll just run this particular code. So here what it is saying is enter the number that is in between 10, 50 and 100. I can just say enter the number which is 10, 50 and 100. Okay. Now let's take 10 here. The number is equal to 10 and then it says hello. So here I'll just put slash in, and even here when I put slash in, it will take you to the next line or new line. Slash in means new line. So now our code is ready. Again I'll run the code. So it is asking us to enter 10, 50 and 100. Let me enter 50 value now. So you can see that when I enter the 50 value, the number whatever is there for the switch, it will take that number, and once the number matches with any of the cases, it will try to print the statements whatever are there within that particular statements. Now you have a into b, a plus b, whatever you wanted to do. You can do the calculations of the calculator. Here you can say a into b. Now whenever you are trying to say read two numbers and you wanted to use operator plus operator. Okay, then what you do is you are trying to read two variables, and then you can take a is one variable, b is one variable, so it has to perform that particular variable and store it in C. Now once it stores that particular value in C, you can see that it will try to print the value of C. Similarly, here you can do multiplication, subtraction and all. So here what I am trying to tell you is you can basically create a small calculator using switch cases. Even if else you can do checking if it is greater than or less than or whatever it is based. If you are doing multiplication, addition or subtraction based on your requirement, you can use if else, but it becomes very tedious. When you look at this particular one switch case, it becomes very easy for you. Even you are having 100 cases, it will be very easy for one person to understand. Now let me run it again and enter the value of 10. So once the number matches with switch and then the number matches with the case, so the number is read to using scan and then it is fed into switch statement and it matches with any of the cases, it will print that particular statement which is there in the case, and because there is a break it is coming out, and then this particular printf is in a main function before closing the code. Okay, so it is trying to print the allo. So the control of the switch is ending here. Now suppose I print 100. You can see the statement in 100 is also printing, and then again it is coming to hello. So if I give the one which is not matching, it goes to default. That means it is going to the default statement, but then again it is trying to print the value hello. That means after the control comes out of the switch statement, there is a print statement in our main program which is print f hello. So that is the reason you can see that hello is being printed for any of our programs. Now suppose I remove this. I'll print 10. See, now in case 10 I have removed the break. So here it is trying to match the number to 10. Yes, the case matches and it is going to number is equal to 10 is being printed, and because there is no break, it will not come out of the switch statement, rather it goes into the second case. Okay, even though the number doesn't matches, you see that because there is no break, it will try to print the number is equal to 50. Now there is a break in 50. You see that it comes out of your switch statement and prints the main code print statement. Now I remove all this break statement. It will print all the cases and try to run it. Now let me give 50 now. Can you see the number is equal to 50, number is equal to 100. Default statement is also printed. Did you notice that? Suppose I keep a break here. I write a break statement here. Because even after 100, you say the default statement is printed. So now I'll write 50 again. So number is equal to 50, number is equal to 100, and then printing hello. So wherever there is a break, it will come out of the switch statement. If there is no break, you say that this particular switch statement has gone through fall through. I'll keep a break. I'll leave it open near 50. It comes out because for 10 it is there. Now suppose I say 50, it will print the number is equal to 50, number is equal to 100. So this is what is called as switch statement. You can also read character. I'll show you here. I'm not changing the variable character. Let it be as it is. Number is equal to A, I'll say. I'm changing this 50 to B. Number is equal to B. Now I'm changing the value case to Z. Number is equal to Z. Now let's change here also. It won't be correct if in case I don't change A, B and Z. Okay, fine. Now let's run this code. This is using the capitals. So here also I need to change. Okay, let me run this particular one. So I need to enter A. I'll say A. Yeah, it was taking long time. So okay, I'll run it. Because I didn't enter any value, it has come to default value. Now again I'll press A. Number is equal to A and allow. Now let me show you with smaller case. I'll not change in the printf statement, rather only in cases. This is Z. Okay, if I print capital A. So when capital A is given, you see that the default statement is printed. Print F number is not equal to ABC because caps and lowercase will be recognized differently. Capital Z I'm trying to give. So it will take default statement. Suppose I give small z, it will try to print the Z keys. Is this clear now? No. So going back to the reminder of the switch statement. So even this I was showing you what is fall through. So fall through is the one wherein you do not write break statement. When you do not write any break statement, what happens is all the statements in all the cases will be printed. This is called as switch fall through it is. I guess we are done. One more, let me show you one more. Even this I'll try to run and show you. In this particular one, you can also see that you can have nested switch case statements. Nested switch case statements are those wherein you see that you will have one particular switch, and within that particular switch you can have one more switch. Okay, so that is what is called as nested switch case statement. So before executing, I'll just show you the difference between the if else and switch statement. So this is a difference between the if else and switch statement, wherein you see that in if else, depending on the condition, the if statement will be executed or the else part will be executed. This is the definition. So when the user want to decide in switch statement, he writes a number of cases. So based on the user, the statement will be executed. Now you have an expression which can be given as a comparative expression, A greater than B. Otherwise, you also say that it contains either logical or equality expression. Whereas in switch, it only takes character, integer, variables. Evaluation is like all the data types can be evaluated: integer, float, character, and boolean. In switch, it is limited to integer and character. In sequence of execution, you see that the condition is checked. If the condition is true, if block is executed, otherwise else block is executed. Whereas in this, I told you switch statement, you have number of cases. If there is no break statement in case, you see that all the cases will be executed. Otherwise, if there is a case, uh, if there is a break in each statement of case, you see that only that particular case will be executed in where the case matches with the switch value. Now default execution. In default execution is the else part in if else statement. Whereas in default statement in switch, you have a particular default statement. If none of the cases matches with the value given, you see default statement will be executed. Next, editing is not easy in if else statement. Editing is very easy in cases, and you can add the more number of cases and you can modify it. The speed in if else is very slow. Whereas in switch case, as the value matches, the moment the value matches, it goes to this case, the case value, and then it will try to execute it. This is what is called the differences. So the speed of switch case is more faster than your if else statement. Now I'll show you the execution of nested if else statement and then we'll stop the lecture. So I'll share you again the online compiler. I'll remove this case. So let me put it properly. So this is within this, so I'll put it inside a little bit so that it will be easy for us to understand. So this will go here and this switch case also will go here. Okay, now I value is 10, J is 20. Let's see how it works. Now let's clear this. Okay, you can see that the value of I evaluate is in the outer switches. Sorry, there is a switch case 20. So here you can see that there is no break statement. So it will do all the two cases. Now I'll insert one break statement here. Can you see? So what happens here? You are trying to have a break statement for case 10. So number 20, that is whatever value is in the nested if will not be done. So for that, let me remove this break statement. For a while, I'll show you once you run this particular code. So the I value is evaluated in the outer switch, 10 it is. Then immediately it goes into case 20, which is J. Then J value is evaluated in the switch, nested switch, which is 20. And then after that, it will try to print whatever statements are there in the main program. Suppose I give a value, we'll read two values instead of giving this. What happens, you see? It will, so based on the requirement, it will do the, I can't say I or J, right? Let's give both then. If J value doesn't match, then it will do the default statement. Now I'm trying to run it. So we should give 10 and 20. So it is evaluating. Suppose I don't give 10 and 20, I'll give 10 and 3. So 10 value matches, 20 value doesn't match. So you see that it will try to avoid case 20, and case 20 is having the nested switch. So it is avoiding the case 20. Now if what happens if I print or give 20 value? When I'm giving 20 value, because case 20 is within, or it is here I'm trying to read 10. So once this case 20 is within the case 10, that means the I value should be 10 here. I'll show you. The I value, whatever is there, should be 10. Only then the case 20, 10 or 20 will come. Now, because I value is not 20, so you see that it will only come and print this particular main statement. Now, let me try give I value as 20 and 3. What happens, you see? So, because I value is 10, 20 and 3, here what happens is I value is 20 here. Okay, so it comes here, switch case 20. So case 20 when it comes, here J value is 3. So in switch J, you see that case 20 is there. So it will not print any of this and it will come directly out. So did you see the difference? So though I value is 20, because J value is not matching, you see that the value which will be printed will be only the main print statements. This is what is called as nested switch case. Now suppose I make it 3 for our convenience. Okay. 20 and 3. So here what is happening? Now the case value what I am giving is 20. I value is 20. So the case 20 it will come. Now J value is 3. So J is 3 means case 3 is there. So the value of J evaluated in the nested is 3. It is printed here. It is printed here. You can see it is printed. Next, then the control will come out of the switch statement and then it will try to print the two statements of the program which are left in a main program. This is how you will try to have the nested nested case, switch case statements. So with this, I'll stop here.